This is a week-long trip and I have less than £100 a day that I can spend on absolutely everything. Will I be able to get to the end of the trip and have any money left? I'm heading back to Disney World this year and it came about in the most incredible way possible. Plus, it came with its own challenge. So today I'm going to let you know all about how this trip came about, what the challenge is, and get you ready for the vlog series that's starting next week. Earlier this year, something incredible happened. A real Disney moment of magic. Long-time supporter of the channel, the amazing voiceover guy, one of the most busiest and well-known voiceover artists for ads and radio in the UK, kindly sponsored this trip, which was absolutely mind-blowing. Not only has voiceover guy sponsored this vlog series, but he's also set me an amazing challenge to see just how far I can make my money stretch. I've been given a budget of £3,000 and this is for a week-long solo trip, and the challenge is to see just how many things I can get out of this. It's to see just how far I can use my tips, my knowledge, everything I've learned over the years to spread that budget as far as possible and fit as many things in as possible. What I think is great about this is quite a reasonable budget. This is something most people will spend when they are going to Disney World. So it's going to be really, really great for me to work out how I can get the most out of that money. When you're going to Disney World, you don't want to have to skimp on the experiences, the dining, all the things that are going to enhance your trip. So I'm going to use all of the knowledge I have to get as much out of this budget as possible. So the challenge has actually already started. I started with £3,000 and so far I have already paid for a number of the big expenses for the trip. So first up, of course, are the big things that you need, such as the hotel, flights and park tickets. Now typically when I am booking a Disney World trip, I'll book really far in advance and take advantage of the free dining offer. So I will book the hotel and tickets through Disney themselves and then book my flights further down the line once they've gone on sale around 11 months in advance of the trip. And this is always the cheapest way to do it if you're booking very far in advance. However, because this incredible opportunity came about just a few months ago, I booked differently to usual, and this time I've booked a package with Virgin Holidays which included the hotel, the flights and the tickets. Now what was great is unfortunately the dining was not an offer at that time, that had ended. However, there was another offer on, so I got 1 night free at the hotel and 20% off of the tickets, which was a really good deal. The package that I have with Virgin is economy flights from London Heathrow to Orlando MCO. I'm staying at All Star Movies, which is a value resort at Disney World, but I've never stayed here. I've stayed at All Star Music and I loved it, and I'm so excited to go to movies. It has amazing theming. I love all of these amazing facades that they have and great photo spots around the resort, so I cannot wait. These are fantastic if you are looking to do a more affordable trip, or maybe you're a solo traveler and you're looking at the best way that you can visit Disney World but keeping it within a budget. This is the place to stay. The all-star resorts are fantastic. And it also includes 14-day tickets, and this is because there was currently an offer on that also gave you 14-day tickets for the price of 7. So even though it is a week-long trip, I would be able to go in the park on the first night if I wanted to, and all the way up to my final day. If I'd got just the 7-day tickets, you might have had to miss out on one of those days. So out of that £3,000, I've already spent 2/3 of it on this package. So the package came to £2,000 and 22 pence. Now we all know that the hotels, flights and tickets are always going to be the biggest bulk expenses of any Disney trip. And it is worth mentioning at this point, because this is a solo trip, this is going to be an area that's going to be more expensive for me than it would be for other people. The way Disney works, and actually hotels in the US work in general, is that you get charged per room, not per person. So as a solo traveler, you pay for the entire room yourself, whereas if you were 2 people, that room cost would immediately halve. So for me, this was always going to be the biggest expense. But of course it swings and roundabouts, because there's other areas of the trip that might be not as expensive for me as a solo traveler, but this was always going to be the big cost. However, this was a really good deal. I always think as a ballpark figure that flights are typically around £600 return from London to Orlando, and then things like the park tickets are now around £650, which means the room was not that expensive at all for a week on site at a Disney resort. So I was so impressed with this, and I think the challenge has got off to a flying start. Something else that I did do was pay for seats on the flight, and again this is because as a solo traveller on a long haul flight, I do not want to be in the dreaded middle seat. It would just not be the one. So it was £58 return. This is the only upgrade that I have done on the flight, and I think this is going to just make it much more comfortable. It avoids that middle seat horror, and I think it's so worthwhile. If you do want to sit in a specific seat on the plane or a specific area of the plane, perhaps you want to sit next to people that you're traveling with, it's definitely worthwhile paying for this. And it is annoying that it is an extra expense, but for that comfort, for that peace of mind, I think it's well worth it. Now, something else that I have paid for is the airport car park. Now, I will be driving up on the morning of my flight. I've booked an afternoon flight, and this saved me having to get an airport hotel or getting up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's going to be really, really nice. And then for the 9 days of my trip, because obviously my flight back is overnight, so you actually land the next day, that has cost me £90.91. This is with purple parking at Heathrow. I use them all the time. They are off-site, but they're on Bath Road. Now, if you've been to Heathrow and stayed at an off-site hotel, that is probably where you have stayed. This has tons and tons of hotels, but it also has purple parking. And what's great is they have a shuttle bus that takes you to all of the terminals. It takes between 15 to 25 minutes depending on which terminal you are in, but the bus is really frequent, and I've always found the prices to be the best. So I did manage to get some savings on this because where I've parked with them before, they do regularly send you offers. So I did get a bit of a discount, and I don't think for over a week of parking, £90.91 is that bad for an airport. What I would recommend is if you are going to be using an off-site car park is to sign up to their mailing list ahead of time. This way they often will send you discount codes. So I have done this with purple parking at Heathrow and APH at Gatwick, and both of them regularly send me discount codes. So I always save money, and I never pay full price whenever I'm parking. And the final thing I have purchased in advance of leaving for Disney World is car hire. Now, I often hire a car, but for this trip originally I was not planning on doing so. I was like, it makes sense, I will just use the Disney transportation and I will save money that way. However, once I started looking up stuff like getting from the airport and to the hotel, and then Ubers to different places I wanted to visit whilst in Orlando, the costs started to add up. And also, where I'm a solo female traveller, I'm not super comfortable being in taxis on my own. So I did think, let me just have a look and see what the prices are for car hire. And they weren't coming out much more than what I would have paid for all of my other transportation costs. So I decided to splurge a bit. And that is something that I think is great about visiting Orlando, is there are definitely areas of the trip where you can save money and other areas where you might think it's worthwhile splurging. And this is definitely one for me. Because the cost was not that much different, it was a no-brainer. It was also really important because not only am I going to feel more comfortable and safe, but it means I'm going to get more out of my trip. Now, when you have a car, you can get absolutely anywhere on Disney World property within 15 minutes, which is fantastic. So if you want to park hop, go to different restaurants that you have reservations for, or have an afternoon break like I do, you can easily do it and it doesn't take much time out of your day. However, if I was going to be using the Disney transport, it's amazing that it is free and it's super well connected. However, getting a bus back to my resort from my park could take up to an hour. And if I want to do that afternoon break, that could be up to a 2-hour round trip just for a break. So you'd be losing so much time out of your day. So the car hire just seemed to make much more sense. So I have booked car hire through Florida Car Hire for Less, and that came to £211.43. Now, what I would say is with car hire, the closer you get to your trip, the cheaper it gets, which is crazy. So what I did is, once I knew about the trip, I originally was playing around with doing the transport. After a few months, I started looking into car hire, found a price and booked. However, when it came time to pay for the car hire about 6 weeks ahead of the trip, the price had dropped. So I paid that reduced price, which is absolutely fantastic. And what I might do is just before my trip, double check again. And if it has come down, I might be able to get it even cheaper. So do check out the vlog series because I'll be able to let you know in that first vlog if I did get it even cheaper. So this is the grand total that I've spent so far before even stepping foot off of British soil. I started off with £3,000 and I've already spent £2,360.56. That is 79% of my budget is already gone, and I haven't even left England. So that means I have £639.44 left, and that is to cover absolutely everything else. So I'm going to squeeze as much out of that as possible. I'm going to be doing dining, I'm going to be doing character dining to show you how you can do that in a more affordable way. I'm going to try and get multipass, I'm going to get merch. So do tune into the vlog series to see how far I can make this stretch, and also get tips and ideas for your own Disney World trips to see where you can make your budget stretch. This is a week-long trip, and I have less than £100 a day that I can spend on absolutely everything else to make this super memorable and a magical trip. So do join me on the vlog series. There you'll be able to see day by day as the money goes down and down and down, and see if I can do it. Will I be able to get to the end of the trip and have any money left? Will I have to start cancelling things and missing out on things? Or are there sneaky ways that I'm going to be able to find little hacks that I can make things more affordable so I can fit more into the trip? I want to say a massive thank you once again to VoiceOver Guy for this incredible opportunity. I never dreamed I would get to go back to my favourite place on earth this year, and there's been so many new things that have come to the parks, so I cannot wait to get back and experience it. So if you would like to see what a week-long solo trip to Disney World is like, how much you can fit into a week trip, but most importantly, how far I can make £639 stretch whilst in Disney World, do tune into the vlog series. There are going to be vlogs coming up for the next 8 weeks every single Wednesday starting from the 2nd of October. So do tune in. I hope you enjoy this series, and now it is time for me to head to Disney World.